Hello and welcome back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Well, last time we played through the Crossing Cup on Mirror Mode. Today we're going to be playing through the Bell Cup and finally finishing Mirror Mode. So that's great. And today we are going to be playing as Bowser. Because why not? We unlocked the set of wheels that we unlocked the Crimson Slim wheels, so those are pretty nice. And this, I guess we'll use, what should we use? We'll use those along with the, we'll use them along with the Steel Driver, why not? And we'll use it along with the, I feel like we gotta use the Bowser Kart when playing as Bowser. Here are the stats. Oh, that might be rough to control. Yeah, you know, let's see how it goes. And once again, we're going to make sure that Smart Steering Auto Acceleration R&D disabled. And so without further ado, let's dive into the Bell Cup and finally finish Mirror Mode. Let's do this. So, today's topic is going to be, we're basically, so I guess for some context, last week, someone suggested that I do talk about my rankings of Pixar movies, and apparently, people held Ratatouille and WALL-E in very high regard. Like, I know that people have always considered WALL-E and Ratatouille to be among Pixar's best movies, but I never, just to not get your hopes up, I'm not about to review those two movies in this video. That's not where I'm going with this, just not to get your hopes up. But I didn't expect that people would react as they did, because a lot of people really wanted to hear my thoughts on those movies, but I'm sorry, I haven't seen either of them. Well, I mean, I have seen Ratatouille, but I may as well not have, because I saw it when I was super young and don't remember much about it, and WALL-E I just straight up have never seen. But yeah, oh boy, nice, okay. So yeah, the point of this segue is that because I ranked the Pixar movies, it encouraged people to suggest my thoughts on other movies, and one of those is the Ice Age franchise, which honestly, didn't expect to get recommended as a topic, but hey, I am more than happy to discuss it because it's not something I actually get to talk about a whole lot, and I have some thoughts, and I don't think my thoughts actually align very nicely with the general public reception of those movies, so let's get into it. First things first, because there's 5 Ice Age movies, I'm not going to talk about the Great Egg Escapade or the Very Mammoth Christmas. I've seen the Christmas one, but I just don't really have many thoughts about it, so I'm not gonna talk about the holiday specials or any of the other shorts that they've released. I'm just gonna talk about the 5 mainline movies. So, the first Ice Age is a classic. There's no getting around it. It is a classic film with a really strong character dynamic and chemistry between the main 3 characters. And just honestly, a pretty nice way to tie the heroes into the villains, which is problem I'll get into a bit later. But yeah, it's a very nice way to tie the heroes into the villains, and the heartwarming scene of trying to like get the baby human back to his family. It's basically because they did this. Now thinking about it, because I was talking about The Good Dinosaur last week when I was ranking the Pixar stuff, and basically Ice Age, they have a similar story of little young human kid goes with ancient animal, and at the end they reunite with the family kind of thing. And Ice Age told that story a million times better in 2002 than Pixar could with The Good Dinosaur in 2015 with like a quarter of the budget or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but something like that. So yeah, almost like the actual quality of your animation, because a lot of people praise The Good Dinosaur for its visual splendor, and yeah, it's a pretty movie, but it's not a good movie. So almost like the visual splendor of a movie's like the visual fidelity of a movie doesn't actually have anything to do with its quality or something crazy like that. Yeah, first Ice Age, classic film, very funny, very heartwarming, and it gives each of the 3 main characters a vital role to play in the story with their backstories and the humor they have and the chemistry they have with each other. So, big fan of the first movie. Next race. So Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, I wouldn't say it's as good. I mean, it looks prettier than the first movie, but all the character models got a noticeable upgrade. But I still wouldn't. Visual splendor aside, I don't think it's quite as good as the first movie. That said, it does do some solid stuff. It tackles a lot of stuff with the. Again, I think it gives, much like the first movie, it gives each character something important to do. With tapping into Manny's existential crisis of, oh, I guess we're going over the edge, of being the potentially the last mammoth and meeting another mammoth, being that of Ellie, and kind of the relationship that they start to form. Diego and his, well, I don't want to spoil most of it, but just Diego has a little bit of soul searching to do somewhat, so that's kind of a cool thing there, and Sid's is more of comic relief, but at least he does get something to do. Crash and Eddie have honestly never been a big fan of them as characters, and I don't know why in the world they're getting their role. I don't know if you saw that, but in the Game Awards last year, they announced, or at least the same night as the Game Awards, Disney had their big, like, multi-tweet chain about announcing a whole bunch of new stuff, and one of the new things they announced was the Crash and Eddie spin-off for Disney+. I don't know how the hell that got approved. I actually don't understand it, but it did, apparently, so whatever, I suppose. Yeah, never been a big fan of them, but that was their introduction, so yeah, the reason why I don't think it's as good is, aside from the pacing generally being a lot... Well, I get the pacing isn't as tight as the original movie's pacing. The villains are crap. It's... They tease the vultures as being villainous, but they really are just there to sing a funny song, which doesn't really help with the pacing issues I brought up earlier, with that song in the middle of it. But the villains are just these two giant evil fish things, and it's like... Because in the first movie, the villains were Diego's old pack, like his old pack of saber-toothed tigers, and kind of his mission was to hunt down the baby human and bring it back to them as food, but then he warmed up to Manny and Sid and became, part of their herd by the end of it, so it's kind of that personal connection to the villain that helps add some more stakes to it. But this movie is just two giant fish. It's like, okay, why do I care? I don't get it. They don't even really need to be in the movie, because the main conflict is the flood itself, is the idea, because the whole point of the movie is the ice is melting, they're gonna flood the valley, and they need to get to a boat so that they can survive. That's the conflict, and that's what I'll talk about in the next race. That's the conflict, is the fact that the valley's flooding, and they need to get to the boat to survive, and that's honestly, it ties in really nicely with Diego's character arc throughout the movie. So I don't understand why they needed to have these two giant fish things. Like, honestly, I really think the movie would have worked better if they just cut them out of the film, because they don't need to be there. They don't service the story in any meaningful way. They're barely in it, which is weird, except magically, like, they just randomly pop up every now and again to cause a headache for the main characters. I really just don't understand why they're there. So that's my biggest problem with the movie, is lackluster villains, slightly balked pacing, a really strange musical number, but character work is really, really great, and the climax is really engaging as well. So that was my thoughts on the second movie. Not as good as the first one, but still pretty good as even on its own. Ice Age 3, I've heard a lot of people say that Ice Age 3 is one of their favorites. Honestly, I've never understood it. I've never understood that. I really don't get what it is about the third movie that so many people seem to really love, because I've never been a fan. It just seems like I was about to say it seems like the most far-fetched of all the Ice Age movies, but then I remember the fifth one exists, so it's not... I honestly don't even want to pretend the fifth one exists, but we'll get to that in a second. The third one... Just, because the idea is, it's called Ice Age 3 Dawn of the Dinosaurs. The idea is that they have a secret underground hidden world of dinosaurs. Watch, now that I've done that, there's going to be a spiny show that appears out of nowhere. But, Sid, there's this, so, the character work is, as usual, pretty solid. And it's, Manny's having a kid with Ellie, and he's going on to, the idea of, like, responsibility pulling everyone in different directions, because Manny's starting fatherhood and starting a family, which leaves Diego kind of isolated because he's focusing more on his family. So then the temptation of, like, is he going to stay with the herd, or is he going to go do his own thing where he doesn't feel like he's needed at home anymore, which then leaves Sid all by himself, which gets him... Okay, so Sid kidnaps some dino eggs, and that... he doesn't realize that they're dino eggs until Big Mama Dinosaur pops in out of who the hell knows where, to take back her kids, which also leads to her kidnapping Sid, and I don't think we're gonna... Oh, wait, hold on. No, I didn't think... I tried. I gave it a good old shot, but I didn't think we were gonna... Okay, yeah, that was... I don't know what happened to that race, but we just kind of butchered that. That was a really bad performance. That was 6th place. Yes, I'm definitely gonna need to replay this one. Oh, We are barely holding on for. Okay, so we gotta win this next one if we want to get the gold star rank, or not. Sorry, the gold trophy. I can't triple star rank anymore, but at least want to try to get the triple star ranking. Also, I'm probably not gonna be able to finish my thoughts on all the Ice Age films in this video, so I'll probably bleed over into the next episode as well. But yeah. So I'll continue talking about Donald the Dinosaur in the next race. Also, you know, earlier when I said I don't know why people like the third movie, I think I figured it out. It's because of Buck. Buck is a character voiced by Simon Pegg that gets introduced in this movie, and yeah, he's easily the standout performance of the film. But one good character, or sorry, one like standout performance does not a good movie make. And I don't know, man. I've always, because it's up until the point it had been kind of grounded in like realistic things that would have occurred at the time of the Ice Age. You know, like the things that would happen as a result of being in the Ice Age, including the meltdown. And then this is just suddenly a hidden underground world of dinosaurs. It's kind of like, really? Like, it kind of feels like you're reaching into jump the shark territory. Even if you accept the premise, I kind of just think the pacing is at its worst in this movie, because there's just this one scene in the middle of it where they're trying to cross a chasm, and like they just it's filled with laughing gas, and if you stand there for too long you die, and it's just like trying to be funny, and I just cringe the whole time. I was like, why are you doing this? However, I will say that the character work is probably the weakest character work out of the three movies, but it's still solid. But the climax is sensational. Like the final, because the other thing is that Ellie goes on this journey with Manny and Sid to go rescue Sid into the underground dino world, and she's pregnant at the time, so the threat is like she could go into labor at any moment, and because script writing, she goes into labor as the climax is beginning. So it's the issue of trying to rescue Sid from his death, fending off the dinosaurs, and like being with her as she's giving birth to her daughter. So there's a lot of different elements at play in that final battle, which all then culminates in the final battle against the super ultra mega dinosaur, and how that ties into Sid's relationship with the dino and the kids, and it's kind of like a Jurassic Park style thing. I don't want to spoil it, but the climax is great. I'd say it's still the weakest of the three movies, and it's the one I've always liked the least. I've never been a big fan of it, aside from the things I just mentioned, but yeah. So far, I'd say it goes 1, 2, 3 in terms of ranking. And then there's movies 4 and 5, which a lot of people say are not quite as spectacular as the originals, but I have some thoughts on those last two movies, but you'll have to wait until tomorrow to find out what those are. For now, let's give you the results. I really bungled that third race, man. Okay, well, I'll be replaying this between episodes to nab that triple star ranking again, but that will be it for now. So, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time. I hope to catch you all tomorrow with some more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and we're going to be starting up 200cc, and things are going to get real crazy. Goodbye.